Welcome back to the last episode of Season 1 of the Family Album. I'm your host, AJ Tenari.
And I have been your host, Matt Glass.
Man, it's crazy to think we actually made it this far, dude.
I know. If you don't mind, I'd like to share a little bit of the background of
Sure. Before we do that, I just want to say thank you to our special guests last week, Ben and Evan, originators of the Family Album, and pass it down to us. It was a pleasure having them on, and it was a pleasure having you guys listen. So, Matt, take it away.
To second that, yes, thank you so much. You guys were incredible guests to have, and it was really fun exchanging all that banter with you guys.
Yeah.
Truly I'm about to say a blessing. Truly a blessing.
In disguise.
Exactly.
A bungle in disguise.
It's a little bit of bungle in all of us.
Yeah.
No, but really though, it's crazy to think how far we've gotten from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because we had recorded quite a few.
Yeah, we had 5 or 6 episodes pre-recorded back in October of 2022, and they didn't start coming out till February.
Because we just had the craziest scheduling conflicts of getting the little nitty-gritty details. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy that we even got to episode 21.
Yeah.
21?
I think it's poetic that it ends on this episode.
Now we gotta strive for that every single.
Exactly.
It's gotta be 21
episodes a season
every single time. But no, yeah, I'm very proud that we've gotten here. But before we start this dick sucking session, let's get
Brendan
started.
Urie style.
Ken Kniff, actually.
Yes. So for our finale albums, what do we have this week, Matt?
We both chose albums that we love.
Yeah,
essentially
favorites of all time.
Yeah, the one I chose for AJ to listen to was probably one of my favorite alternative indie albums of all time in the. I think it's mid 2010s.
This is late 2010s.
Late 2010s.
2017, yeah.
It is called Gone Now by Bleachers with the frontman and former member of Fun.
The best member of Fun.
Arguably the most talented member of Fun. Andrew Dost, I love you too. You're an amazing piano player and I aspire to be you.
I fucking see you, Nate.
Get the fuck out of here.
Not this time. This is our moment.
We don't care that you're 40.
He looks so young though.
I know. I gotta do what he's doing. But anyway. Jack Antonoff is the guy, the main frontrunner of Bleachers. He made the group Bleachers. He's the front man, and he made this album. It's a second studio album, Gone Now, and it's one of my favorite albums of all time.
And then my album for Matt this week is one of my favorite albums of all time. I think I mentioned it previously, but it's in the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson, the pinnacle, the grandfather of progressive rock. And I just have such a soft spot for this album. I feel like it's just so tight, and you can really see where the genre is going to go just right from this album, and seeing it solidify itself in the genre on their first attempt is just really impressive, and I'm very excited to see Matt's thoughts on it.
I think I will let you know. Actually, well, before we get into that,
we actually have a little ad break for you guys, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you when we get back. Hey, Matt, you know what I love?
Steely Dan?
Well, yes, but I also love how easy it is for two goobers like us to make a podcast.
I mean, with Spotify for Podcasters, it's no wonder. Spotify for Podcasters is a one-stop shop that's got everything you need to create the perfect podcast.
That's right. Using Spotify for Podcasters, you can directly record and edit your podcast wherever you are, using their intuitive and easy-to-use website.
And once you're done editing, Spotify for Podcasters takes care of the hard part and distributes your podcast directly to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are available.
And now you can even make video podcasts available on Spotify, which gives you even more freedom to make the podcast you want, while also giving your lovely listeners a chance to see your face.
Speaking of listeners, Spotify for Podcasters also encourages fan engagement by letting you get feedback directly from your listeners with Q&As and polls made by you.
You can even make money with your podcast through ads, podcast subscriptions, and donations directly from your audience.
Spotify for Podcasters offers all of this, and it's completely free to use with no catch whatsoever.
Guys, Spotify for Podcasters made recording and distributing the Family Album so easy. Being able to schedule our episodes ahead of time and letting them take care of distribution took so much weight off our shoulders.
For anyone that's ever even thought about starting a podcast, we highly recommend giving Spotify for Podcasters a try.
You can download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started.
Once again, download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters.
Wow, that's the last time you're going to hear that for a while, guys.
God, that void is so cold.
It is. But we do it for you.
We do.
Mostly for us.
So, AJ, what album would you like to start with?
Matt, let's start with your album. Let's start with Gone Now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
So, actually, do you want to do like the little rundown on this? Because you're the bleach head in here. You drink bleach here.
I do drink bleach. It's what all the fans do. If you survive, you can go to the concerts.
Exactly. Don't drink bleach.
Please do not do that.
Don't
please,
do that.
Please, for the love of God, do not do that. I am not having that on my hands. Absolutely not.
No.
Well, I can tell you one thing. They've been a group from 2013 to like the present. They have a very soft spot in my heart because they're from New Jersey.
I see.
Jack Antonoff is I don't know if I'd say a proud New Jerseyan.
But he's a Jersey boy.
I think he's proud of the fact of how much he knows about New Jersey, which is a sentiment that all New Jerseyans feel. We don't like the state that much, but we like
It's a part of you.
We like to just show how much we know about New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I think that is a very, very, let's say just
Like
relatable thing.
Yeah.
I'll just read the live band members that like usually reappear. We got Jack Antonoff. He's like the lead vocals, guitar, bass, keyboards. He mixes everything and produces everything. He does synth and samples a lot of shit.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We got Evan Smith on the keyboards, saxophone. He's their saxophone guy. He's pretty fucking dope.
Nice.
Also does synths sometimes and does the backing vocals. We got Mikey Freedom Hart, keyboards, guitar, synthesizers, piano, bass, and backing vocals. Sean Hutchinson on drums and sampling pad, synthesizers, bass, backing vocals. Sean Hutchinson is honestly like one of the craziest drummers I've ever seen. I mean, like he's just like so versatile in whatever image Jack Antonoff wants. I believe he is the guy who was on this album and
Strange Desire.
Strange Desires. Yeah. I was about to say Roller Coaster, but that's one of the tracks. That's not that's a fun album. It's a bit more that one's a bit more like 80s inspired than this one, but it's a fun one. But Sean Hutchinson, he's awesome. Mike Riddleberger, he also does some drums, does the sampling pad, backing vocals, and then Zem Odu.
I don't know. I don't drink bleach, man.
My bad. Zem Odu, I apologize if the pronunciation is bad. He does keyboards, also saxophone, and backing vocals. And they've all been just kind of swapping in and out roles since 2014.
So kind of like a Steely Dan situation a little bit?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's cool, but like they're all just like insanely talented musicians, and Jack Antonoff just has like the craziest visions of like whatever he wants to do. Gone Now, the album that I gave AJ, is their second studio album.
Released June 2nd, 2017 on RCA Records.
Their first one was Strange Desire. And then their most recent one, which was one I was actually going to give, but I thought, no, I think you need to be introduced to them in this way
Gone
first.
Now. All right.
Because I feel like even though Strange Desire is their first one, you can introduce them through this one too.
Cool.
A lot of them, they're both very much like all the Bleachers fans like love all the albums. But Take the Sadness Out of Saturday Night, that's their last studio album.
That was 21, right?
Yeah, and it's also a huge favorite of mine.
Cool.
Because it's such a weird sound, but this one is also a weird sound, and I appreciate it for all that it's worth. So.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting like the sound of this album from like what you described, and I guess kind of what the internet described it as. So it was a very interesting listening experience.
Would you like to jump on in?
Sure. So starting off, we have Dream of Mickey Mantle. I think this is a very cool opener.
It is.
Especially, is it a concept album?
So, yes, question
Somewhat,
mark?
yeah.
He's very, in terms of lyricism, and I have a guy on Reddit who sort of transcribed all of his explanations track by track.
Okay.
And I read it beforehand, but I'm going to also reference it.
Yeah.
So shout out to Reddit.
Let's go.
It's kind of a concept album. Like the main themes of this album is just like the idea of like loss.
Yeah.
I think that's like a huge thing. So
yeah, definitely.
He talks about that actually a lot in like the first album too, which is really cool. Well, not cool. Like I feel terrible, but like it's great.
That
content.
it's like a running theme.
Like
yeah.
I love you, Jack. Please, no. But that's like one of the biggest things. He thinks about like the mortality quite a lot, mostly because he lost his sister at a very young age, and that's what Like a River Runs off his other album, Strange Desire, is about, which is another one of my favorite songs. But I digress.
This is Gone Now by Bleachers, released June 2nd, 2017.
Yes, it is. And it is sort of like, I guess thematically, it's not really a concept album, but it's an album that plays with that theme in a number of different ways.
Because like this song and the next track are kind of like intrinsically related, because I saw it described as like you're in the state between being asleep and being awake.
That's Goodmorning. sort of kind of.
Okay.
The dream of Mickey Mantle is him recalling like what his first real concept of
death
is like.
Because it was like huge news in New Jersey.
Yes.
And that was like how he like was first exposed to the concept of death.
Exactly.
Which is really interesting.
Even like even I knew about it. I'm not even all that big into like,
shit.
yeah, you know what I
Wow.
mean? Like, because my dad, that was something like my dad like straight up like told me about. So it's kind of fucking nuts when you really think about it.
Got down on his knees. He held her and was like, Matt, I'm so sorry, but Mickey Mantle is no longer with us.
And I was like, no, who is that? No, but it's like he goes into like all these like theatrics about like, oh, curse my bedroom. You know, it's a whole thing.
And like it's really cool with like the utilization of kind of like muffled vocals and instruments in the background that slowly get clearer and clearer as the song goes on.
His buildup is just like of that first track. It's so nice. I re-listened to this one. I mean, I've listened to the album like several times in high school. That's where I found out about it because I was like, shit, I can't. Because at the time I really liked Fun.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, Jack Antonoff joined another band. What the fuck? And I was like, oh, wait a second. This is actually pretty cool.
No. Oh, I see why he left.
He sounds so old. No, I'm kidding.
He sounds so young, but he looks so old.
He's old.
He's cold. And so very full of mold. Truly the reverse Nate Roos.
But yes, the dream of Mickey Mantle. Anything else you want to say about it? It's a fun track. I think it's a really cool opener.
Yeah, something interesting about like this track specifically, the vocals really remind me of the Strokes.
I can very much see that, especially with like the whole like the I can't drum with my mouth.
Like the 16th note beat kind of,
Yes.
yeah. And it's sounding more kind of like muffled a little bit. It's interesting. His vocals, there's a lot of range on this album, which I appreciate.
He definitely just goes for it.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the biggest things with Jack, sorry, I moved away from the microphone like way too fast with that. One of the biggest things with Jack Antonoff that I feel like is like sort of need to be established was the fact that like he wasn't just fun. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He rose to success.
He was above fun.
He was in Fun and he very much like contributed a lot.
Yeah.
And helped like Nate Roos with a lot of his like visions and stuff for Some Nights and Aim and Ignite, their first album. But he also was a very established musician. He was in Steel Train. I think I want to believe another band, but I don't recall the name right now. But he's had like loads of experience and has been touring since he was like a teenager. Like,
and now he's producing for like some of the fucking biggest names out there.
Lana Del Rey, Taylor Swift, one of a more like not so known artist by the name of Claude, which I love. They created the record Super Monster, which is really fun. He's incredible. I have a lot to say about him, so I'm going to keep going.
All right.
But yeah, Dream of Mickey Mantle. That's I never really appreciated that track until I listened to it again. I was like, this fucks.
Nice. Hell yeah, dude. Next up, we move on to Good Morning. Very good follow-up, I think.
I adore this track so much. Like, this was the one that I always return to all the time. And it's such a specific thing that he's trying to write about of him, like, in that state between, like, being asleep and being awake and sort of leaving all the weight of your life and all like the pain in your life right by your bed. And then you sort of like pick that shit up as soon as you like wake up and get out of bed.
Yeah.
It's such a weird, like specific thing.
But like everyone can relate to it of like dealing with it tomorrow.
I don't know. What do you think like musically of this track?
This is going to be kind of like a weird reference, but like it reminded me of Hobo Johnson a little bit.
I can definitely see that.
Also, a little behind the scenes, there was a canceled Hobo Johnson episode, possibly season 2. We'll see.
Well, we can only hope.
Exactly. We can only hope. But yeah, it was like very like eclectic, kind of like techno-y sounding, but with the kind of exaggerating sporadic vocals of Hobo Johnson, but a lot more controlled and a lot more talented, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Also, like the use of channels specifically are very interesting. Like vocals, like purely on the left, and while the music just happens on the right. It's very, very interesting.
I think Good Morning really just sort of illustrates his psyche a lot because he comes off as the guy who would like just speak in like blurbs.
Yes.
And I feel like that song is just like all over. Like if you were going inside of his brain, I feel like that's what we'd be playing. Like that's what I always like took it as. He just like so many lyrics. I just like I think about like with this one, like how come I lied to you? I lied to you. Something about that. He's just like recalling all of this shit that he just like, you know, probably wouldn't have thought about in his day, but randomly as he's trying to like, you know,
get through the day, it's just like popping in his head.
One thing I also love about this track is that like there are like analog and acoustic instruments like in this,
and electric too,
yeah. And like also I love like the backup singers too.
Yeah.
But I think what's so cool about it is just like he like arranges them and like produced it in a way that makes it sound like an instrument that you've never heard of that's made of other instruments.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like very uniquely produced. Like it sounds, because I saw this like reference as like very 80s inspired, and like what I guess like one of my things that I didn't really like is that they didn't really lean into it that much, but at the same time it makes it more unique and more Bleacher sounding. So I can respect it.
Yeah, there are a lot of different production choices on this album that like I love. Even if some people don't like them, I personally love them. But Good Morning, honestly, something about just the whole idea, because I feel like I've been there. You know what I mean? You're just like, you're getting up, you kind of forget that you like exist and like have a life, and you did shit yesterday that you regret, or a month ago or a year ago that you
have
regret.
To deal with now.
And then like all of a sudden it just kind of comes, you're just like, oh yeah, well, the weight of living.
Yeah.
That's actually a Bastille song, The Weight of Living Part 1 and 2.
Off of Give Me the Past.
Back to the Past, Samurai Jack. I fucking love that show. To
play the video games that suck ass.
No, but yeah. Anything else to say about Good Morning? I
really like the outro of the song with the funky groove bottles. And I'm glad that those come back like throughout the album. I love that a lot.
Yeah,
because they fuck very hard.
They do. His usage of just utilizing sounds is just like chef's kiss. I just think it's so unique and just so him. If you've seen interviews of him, you would just like be like, oh yeah, that definitely is the guy. Who fucking. I mean, he also is on the front of the album, which I'll get to that in a second as to why it's that. No, he's not a dictator, AJ.
I saw that on Genius.
Everybody fucking thinks he is, but he's not. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, Good Morning.
Next up, we have Hate That You Know Me. This one, as a concept and a theme, I can definitely appreciate, but like musically, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Except for the fact that Carly Rae Jepsen was on the song. Yeah. And I fuck with that very heavy.
Yeah, no, that is a pretty cool thing. He also just casually will sometimes just invite.
Yeah, just drop like fucking Lords on this album like twice, which is insane.
Last album, he had Yoko Ono.
That's her. I think you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's one of my least favorite songs of all time, but
but hey, she's there.
Hey, and she sounded pretty good, not gonna lie to you.
Not bad.
Like, Yoko Ono can sing, guys. Like, chillax a little bit. She can sing. She's actually kind of talented.
As you heard in our Beatles episode. Go listen to that, by the way.
Yeah, fake fans. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. I love all of you.
17, I think.
Well, she was just 17. Sorry.
The Beatles' darkest moment.
Yeesh. But yeah, Hate That You Know Me. I think, like, I like the song musically, and if you got it, I guess since I'm kind of explaining all of it, the whole concept is like, man, I really hate that you know me, because sometimes you just kind of want to like not be perceived.
Yeah.
And as a guy who is very introverted, I can appreciate that quite a lot. So that's
like you want to get away from yourself, but you're with someone who knows everything about you, so you can't.
Yeah, for sure. And I love in the one part where he just kind of goes like, I hate it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's just raw, just him screaming it.
I can definitely see like this one is not a go-to. Like I never am like, oh, click on Hate That You Know Me, because I have a playlist of Bleachers songs.
Yeah.
Which is they need to make more music. I need to add more to the playlist.
Come on, Jack.
Mr. Antonoff. No, but this is one where it's like I love the backup singers. I love the one like girl who's like, I hate that you know me. Yeah. Like that shit. I don't know
who it is, but I wrote down all the backup singers that appear. It's Carly Rae Jepsen, Lorde, Sam Dew, and Julia Michaels.
Yeah.
One of them, I assume.
Also, the live versions of all these songs fuck so hard.
I feel like they might be better if I listen to the live versions, because I feel like they just pack so much more punch, because that's a criticism I had on this song specifically, was the music I felt was like a little hollow.
It can be. I mean, like I love the bottle beat.
The bottle beat's fucking great.
It's so cool. But sometimes I do feel like it is a little bit of like a flat line in terms of like
they just need to like bring it up a little bit more in the mix, maybe add some more bass, and then like there you go. It's a bit of a Halsey situation, you know?
Yeah. But I still appreciate the theme quite a lot, because he writes very specifically and for very specific reasons, and I'll get to that in a moment, because there's a lot there. But yeah. Anything else to say about Hate That You Know Me?
Nah, I think we can move on to some words to live by. Just don't take the money.
This one is such a unique track.
Yeah, this is the single, like the big hit from the album.
Yeah, the music video is pretty cool.
I'm not the biggest fan of this.
That's fair.
The chorus, I don't really like. It reminds me of or not the chorus, I think it's the pre-chorus. The ba 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 ba. It reminds me of like Imagine Dragons for some reason.
Different sides of
Yeah.
the bed. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of that.
That's fair, honestly. This is another one where I don't immediately go to it, but if it comes on, I'm like, I'm going to keep it on. I mean, because some of the synths are like really, really cool.
They are very cool. I like that a lot.
Something about that guitar of the something about that. I'm just like, this is life right here.
Just that tone.
Yeah.
Always fucks.
I do like the way that he utilizes just like singing like really, really low because he has a really low like bassy voice.
It's really cool. Like, you can see like all aspects of his vocal range on this album. It's very, very unique.
On the album before this, he fucking screams like holy shit. He fucking wails.
Nice.
And it's fun.
Sweet.
It's fun to see him just go ham because like you can just tell how passionate he is about the shit that he's writing. But Don't Take the Money is just something that he had been telling himself for years. It's just basically like follow your gut.
Okay.
Don't sell out, essentially. Staying on a path, trying to follow the light as much as you can without like selling out.
Cool.
So
something to respect. Yeah, definitely.
It's a pretty like direct message. So yeah,
it's cool. I like the bass line during the bridge. That's very nice. The keys are a highlight, and Lord is on here.
Yeah,
so that's great.
It's pretty dope.
I just don't. I guess I don't really like the songwriting or like the inflection of his voice. I guess is the only thing.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, it's a very direct song, and just that part does kind of sound a bit like a little bit like annoying nursery rhyme-ish.
Dragging these nuts across your face, you know.
Exactly. Feel the thunder. God, but want to keep going?
Yeah. Next up, we have Everybody Lost Somebody. This is a very nice one.
Something about this track spoke to me on like a different level in high school. Because like this song is essentially just about the fact of the one unifying factor of why we're all connected is that one way or another, we've all experienced loss in some way. And part of the reason why, you know how there's like white noise and stuff like that, and then you hear the saxophone like fade in? He wanted to make it so that you were standing on a street corner and just kind of observing.
Okay.
So that's why there's like all that around.
Nice.
Also, this one's also very direct in like what he's thinking or what he wants to say. Something about the "come on, motherfucker, you survived. You got to give yourself a break." It's just I don't know, like
it's real.
Yeah, it's a really real song, and I love the saxophone riff.
Oh yeah. Once I heard those like horns like in the beginning, I was like, I need more of those. Bring them back.
He has a lot of them later on, especially in the latest one that he released.
Oh, nice.
It's like all horns.
Fuck yes.
And there's a sax solo on the song called "How Dare You Want More," and it just fucking rips.
Sweet.
Maybe I'll have you listen to it. Maybe not.
Season 2.
Season 2.
Everything's up in the air right now.
But
gotta love that little cowbell in the background too. That's just constantly going. That's fun.
Absolutely. I love the voice. I gotta get myself back home soon. That's his Italian friend by the name of Camila something. I'm pretty sure. Everybody Loves Somebody is a song by Dean Martin. Anyway, Everybody Lost Somebody, however, is a song by Jack Antonoff of Bleachers. And yeah, it's honestly just one of the most real songs, but there's something like so kind of like
it's like hopeful,
yeah, and also like bright. I think bright would definitely be a word I'd use surprising for this album
because it touches on like dark themes, but it never like musically never gets dark. There's always like a sense of hope or just something uplifting in the mix that like keeps you going.
For sure. He reflects a lot about the past, but he's also just kind of like, I'm also here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're just living.
Exactly.
We're doing the best we can.
Nah, it's a great theme. Want to keep going?
Sure. Next up.
This is the last time I'm going to interrupt you for like a few weeks, AJ.
Oh my God, dude.
What are we going to do?
Guys, got to ring the alarm.
Shit.
The last one for a while.
The alarm sounds a little bit weaker than I remember, AJ.
Well, our budget's getting cut after the season.
Shit,
after the bungles.
Oh man, those bungles
and those gargangle bogs killed our intern. So
that is true.
Still recovering from that.
Once they united with the Tanukis and the raccoons, it was kind of just over from there.
It was downhill, man.
It really was. But hey,
it's not downhill. This next track.
This one goes out to you, Kyle. All my heroes. Honestly, it's another pretty direct track. I just really like the production choice on this one in particular is just so interesting.
Yeah, it's like synth-wavy disco to open it up, which is really cool. You have more vocals on the single channel, which is also a very neat choice. I got a very cool bass line, And it's very reminiscent of the 80s.
It is.
It's cool.
It's basically just about like doing better. You know what I mean?
Because it's like you see your heroes fail and that inspires you to be better than them, which is cool.
It's pretty direct, but it's like, this song I would always just think like, I got to keep pushing whatever I'm doing, no matter how hard things get. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like there's always something really hopeful about it. And I think that's the fun thing about his music. I think he's very reminiscent of Springsteen in that sense.
Yeah, it's fair.
You know what I mean?
Another fellow Jersey boy.
Exactly. He actually is a feature on the next album.
Oh shit, that's cool.
Called Chinatown.
Nice.
Which I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about that track yet.
Fair.
Sometimes I really like it, and sometimes I'm like, you know what? Not for me today.
Brucey, get the fuck out.
No, actually, I do like him otherwise. Just that feature, I'm just,
Gotcha.
But this one's very fun. He considers this like a spiritual successor to a track on the first album called I Want to Get Better.
Cool.
So, which is a really fun, that one's also really good. I keep talking about all the other songs. I got to stick with this one. I just love this artist so much. But this next track is probably one of my least favorites.
Okay. I can see that. I believe he referred to this as like the most straightforward like love song on the album. There's not as much like of a deeper meaning as the rest.
It's weird though. He actually, do you know why he wrote this song?
Why is that?
It was because it was the morning after Trump was elected.
That's right. I did hear about this. Yeah.
It was wild. I think he was starting to feel like division and was like, hey, the bad people don't belong here. Let me embrace all the good people who are here. So, you know, it's just like kind
of like a crisis song.
I guess so. Yes. A crisis song. And just like, I guess he kind of didn't, because when you think about it, he had been touring for like so long, like since he was a teenager. He's been to every gas station. This is him. I'm literally quoting what he's saying. He's been to every gas station, every diner, every fucking place. He's traveled like all across the United States. And I feel like he kind of felt like he knew just everywhere.
Yeah.
And then when this happened, it felt like a betrayal almost. So he was like, oh, okay, well, I need to at least be thankful for the good people and say like, hey, we're still family. We're still tight. You know what I mean?
It's kind of be like, I need something good to hold on to.
Let's get married. Nah, but it's a fine track. I think it's still pretty solid.
It sounds like very 2010s-esque, I would say. But there's like cool moments on there. Like there's some nice held like chords throughout, like that just feel really uplifting about that. Also the lyric, I'm gonna look good for you, honey, get myself better, spend you all my money. I don't know, I just like the flow of that. Yeah. It's a nice little lyric.
He has a fun lyrical flow and delivery, I find.
Yeah.
It's the only things I really don't like about the song is just like the intro where it's like the guy speaking in the beginning. And I'm like, for some reason I hear that and I'm like, I'm skipping this. But like, it's an okay song. I do really like the bridge though. The bridge is very, very nice.
Yeah. Next up we have Goodbye, and my first note was not the fun auto-tune.
Yeah. And it's unfortunately, I feel like, however, even though it is like fun auto-tune, it's like a little bit like less obnoxious, I'd say.
Yeah, it doesn't go full roost on here, but it is just like something that's prevalent throughout.
Yeah. I like the beat of this one quite a lot.
The beat is very cool. Those 16th note hi-hats are very nice.
And then there's like this one part where like all the horns are like, like, you know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of cool.
Little accents, man. I love that.
It's fun. It's fun. Like he definitely has this way of arranging. I like this sort of like almost old school kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. Like it's almost like an old school kind of hip hop deal.
Yeah, just like retro.
Yeah.
The pianos on this song I really enjoy, especially during the outro. I wrote like gives me like Steven Universe vibes, which I really fucked with.
Yeah.
And then Lena Dunham has like a little feature on here where she just like rambles about just living, which is cool.
Yeah.
Just keeping it real.
That is true. That is true. I feel like the auto-tune, it's like just a little bit like if we were gonna compare it to some
Stars.
nights, to Stars, or just that one random little middle part of Some Nights that I fucking hate. I feel like what's nice is he's not really showing off like his vocal abilities like that much.
Yeah, it's just more like a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
Rather than just like, look at my range.
I feel like he kind of just like did that just to give it like another thing.
Yeah.
And that I feel like that's what kind of makes this album maybe like a little bit more dated than I wish it was. But I mean, I feel like it works.
I feel like this album for the most part isn't like super dated. Like he really wasn't chasing trends of like that era of the 2010s. This can like stand on its own and still be like held up like I'd say 10 years from now and still be considered, wholly original.
Anything else to say about it?
Not really.
Yeah.
Next up, we got I Miss Those Days, which is a very interesting concept for a song.
It is. Like, first of all, this one was a fucking bop in high school for me. I used to listen to this song. It was Good Morning and then this.
Yeah.
I used to listen to those like all the time. Like those were constant replays.
Nice.
I Miss Those Days. Something about the bells. Like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, the bells are cool.
I don't know. I just
everything like feels like really nostalgic on this song, which is definitely the point. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's about like looking on the good old days. So it really, like, kind of like tugs at those strings that make you think. It's cool.
It is really fun. This track is interesting because it's literally just like him being like, oh man, I was really just kind of like
a poor teenager,
Yeah.
doing shows for no one, and I miss that.
yeah. Like there's something weirdly like at the same time like, oh, don't really have any attachments that much. Sure, things weren't the best, but it was the freest I've probably felt in a while.
It's like I didn't have as much responsibility or like fame to like deal with. So
and like something about that, I'm just like, wow, that's a really interesting, really profound thing to think about.
yeah, like a different outlook. It's cool.
And he's very direct about it.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
he is very direct on this album, which I can very much appreciate because he actually plays it off very well instead of kind of like coming off as obnoxious, which is cool.
He's very much the type of person to kind of just like say what he's thinking.
Yeah.
Like if you watch a lot of his interviews, he like speaks in the way that he songwrites. I
Okay.
feel like
Cool.
honestly. So
I can definitely see that.
yeah, he's interesting. He's a quirky
The best
guy.
thing since that wasn't on Marshall Mathers. That's the Eminem show. So you guys don't get that. Fuck. Nothing Is You is the next track.
This wasn't a frequent listen in high school. I kind of have come to appreciate this a bit more. Especially with like I love when the beat comes in,
Yeah,
but
it's nice. I like his vocal specifically on this song. It's like really clean, but there's also kind of like a filter on it, which sounds very nice and it fits the tone of the song very well.
it also has this like piano that kind of goes through it. That's like arpeggiating a little bit. Just
it's really good.
She puts on a black dress. Something about that. This one is supposed to be the more straightforward love song.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, from what he describes.
Okay.
Just something about like though I'll quote what he says. That's my way of saying like I'm a mess. I'm all freaking out about these little things, and then nothing has changed me quite like you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a line within the context of his life that he wanted to repeat over and over.
Yeah.
It's just kind of sweet. You know what I mean?
It's like, just saying like your loved one is like your rock, always going to be there for you. It's sweet. It is very sweet.
Yeah, and he's also talking about like cleaning his glasses and his phone and all that shit.
Guys, we can all relate.
Yeah, exactly. As a glasses, where are all my glasses wearers at?
Yeah. I really like how during the outro, everything just kind of like really kicks in, especially with the drums. It's a very cool way to end the song.
It is. It is.
Next up, we have I'm Ready to Move On / the Mickey Mantle Reprise as we almost draw a close of the album, the penultimate track. Very cool that they bring the Mickey Mantle stuff back. I think it's very nice. And it's a bit of a strange sounding intro with the guitar and the horns, but like it slowly kind of evolves and it starts to, fit the groove. It's cool.
I never liked this track at all. Something about there's this one part where this trap beat comes in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, this is kind of ass. But
Yeah.
I wanna break free. Like
It is interesting.
I was just kind of like, oh, okay, this is yee. But I mean, I feel like even though this track is really weird sounding, good when you compare it to Good Morning, where that's just like a really, really interesting production sound. I feel like this one, it's like
is like too much or
No.
just like not interesting.
no, not even that. I feel like given the tone of Good Morning, it kind of fits that this one's on the album, if that
Okay.
makes sense. Like I don't know. It kind of makes sense that like something this weird sounding would be there because Good Morning was also a really unique sound. And they're kind of almost in the same vein of like, this like sort of like downbeat kind of thing, but all the instruments are just only moving on this downbeat. There's this one part with the saxophone that is pretty fucking tight though, I will say. But it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's just like a weird kind of musical. It's very weird musically is what I'm trying to say.
Apparently, this is a few songs that he wrote with like a few people. Like this is like
Like a collab.
This is like 3 song ideas that he just kind of put into one thing.
Gotcha.
So that was pretty interesting. And like,
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it.
he considers this like the end of the album.
I mean, I could see that because it reprises the first song.
Sam Dew and Organized Noise are also on this track, by the way.
Oh, cool.
If you know either of those people, ladies and gentlemen, or AJ.
Sam Dew was on an earlier track. I believe it was the one with Carly Rae Jepsen.
And yes, the friend from before, that is Camila. That is their name.
Okay, Camila.
The person who's like, I got to get myself back. He appreciated the fact of like something about the way that she would say, I got to get myself back home sooner or something like that. He's just like, I feel like I need to add this. And like the full line of dialogue is revealed in this track.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's what's kind of fun. So that's why it's also considered that like the end.
Yeah, because it plays out the song in the outro. That like narration. It's nice.
I think we could just move on to Foreign Girls.
Yeah, the closer. Matt, we got a title drop. He does say "gone now" in the song.
He does.
So we are legally allowed to go home.
It's true. That is very, very true.
There's a nice little trumpet solo that happens on the left ear, which is really cool. And there's also kind of a jump scare moment in here.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
It was, I never, this is another one that I didn't really listen to a lot because I didn't like not knowing when it comes in. I hate, I hate surprises, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I hate it so much. So on, Nate Roos! Something about this one is very interesting. He calls it Foreign Girls because he wanted to write a song called Foreign Girls. Mm-hmm. He did it.
Look, a little Jackie go.
He thought it wouldn't be so. I'm quoting him right now. It wouldn't be so interesting to fall in love with somebody I can't communicate with.
Okay, I see.
And he could start over and pretend that he's someone else, and they won't know like every little thing about him.
Gotcha.
And he would just have to like show them in that case instead of like everybody having preconceived notions of him.
I guess it's kind of interesting going back to Hate That You Know, because it kind of like juxtaposes that idea and like kind of like calls back to it, which is a neat concept.
It is a really cool callback, honestly. It's apparently it's like a weird like fantasy he's kind of had like a little bit, just kind of being able to like start anew in any way. Yeah, so he's probably thinking of situations where he could probably just like do that.
Yeah, it does sound like he's kind of like reminiscing to when he was a nobody on this album.
And there's something really sad about that. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's almost in like, it's weird. It's like almost in the same vein of the whole congratulations motif of where stardom isn't like the
all that's cracked up to be.
I didn't really get like this. I only found out about this meeting of Foreign Girls like
later,
like recently. Yeah. Like I did not, this one was always lost on me, but like, I kind of understand like, you know, like,
where he's coming from now.
Well, I don't want to say that because I'm looking. You're listening to me right now. Like we're not like
that is very true.
We're gonna stay probably exactly where we are.
Yeah. As Ween once said,
exactly where I'm at. Yeah. I was about to be like, shit, that's not the name, so I wasn't gonna say anything. But just he wanted to just talk about, hey, I fucked up before, but I'm still pushing forward.
Yeah.
But also, I'm sorry. Exact quote. But yeah, this one I think I've appreciated now, like later, like both musically and thematically.
Yeah.
So honestly, it's not my favorite yet again, but it's definitely risen a bit in favoritism for sure.
Would you say you would prefer Foreign Girls or I'm Ready to Move On as a closer?
I think, honestly, I prefer Foreign Girls as the last track. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'd be angry if he just ended on I'm Ready to Move On, Mickey Mantle.
I guess that is fair. It's a very strange track to end on. So it's just like a hodgepodge of ideas.
Yeah. So I feel like Foreign Girls just I don't know. The whole motif of the album was like lost, but also just kind of like reminiscing and sad nostalgia.
Just living in the moment.
Yeah. So I would say like, because he also described this album takes place like over like a lifetime.
Yeah.
In a way. Mm-hmm. So I would say like this is honestly a perfect closer for this.
Cool.
Especially in comparison to I'm Ready to Move On, which I still don't listen to ever.
Fair enough. But I guess it brings us to our final thoughts. So Matt, what are your final thoughts on Gone Now by Bleachers?
I am very biased. This is probably, in my opinion, this album kind of shaped me in a weird way into like who I like to think that I am. Mm-hmm. Like something about his just whole perspective and outlook on like living a loner life in a weird way, but also kind of reminiscing on the past, but like still trying to like
be better.
Yeah, and make something like good out of himself. Because I think that's one thing he's always tried to do is just like make something good out of himself, like above all things, whatever he is in life. So something about that just has always spoken to me. I mean, he's a New Jerseyan, and one thing I admire about him is he he knows a lot about New Jersey, like I said before, but doesn't exactly like love New Jersey. He just loves to flex. He knows a lot about New Jersey, which
as all Jerseyans do.
I feel like a lot of Jerseyans in our generation, like that's how we are. But one thing he said about New Jersey that I quote all the time is that people in like the last like decade, maybe a little bit over the last decade, who are born in New Jersey, just they grow up and just have a desire to get out of New Jersey.
Yeah, I can see why.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's not like even if like without all like the bad things like about New Jersey or whatever, like our taxes. I mean, but like
Chris Christie.
Oh, don't even get me started. But no, he
next season.
Honestly though, I just have such a soft spot for this album in general. Just so I don't start talking in circles, I'll just close it with this. I have a soft spot for this album. It really kind of hit me at quite a fundamental, like developing time in high school, I would say. And it very much like influenced a lot of my taste in music right now.
Yeah.
So honestly, I would definitely give this like an A+ tier.
Cool.
For sure. I mean, there are definitely some production choices that I don't think would make it deserve S tier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And lyric choices, in my opinion. But at the same time, I just got to appreciate just how like of an experience this album is.
Yeah.
I feel like it really hits hard in a lot of areas. So specifically the balls, but anyway, I don't know why. I don't know why I phrased it like that. So I was like,
it's in the balls, dude.
Exactly, but in a good way.
Yeah, a nice little love tap.
Exactly. A nice little. I can't say that. Never mind. So I would give this honestly a like. I'm trying to do this in a non-biased way. But
if you want to go biased, I'm going completely biased on my album. So
I'm giving this a solid like 9.5.
Yeah,
because I just connect so deeply with this album on like many different levels.
Nice. Well, hell yeah, man. Thank you for showing me this album. I don't have the bias, but it was definitely an interesting experience. I've said interesting like 80 fucking times.
It's definitely a word to describe this album.
It is a very unique listening experience, and I definitely what I was not expecting at all. I was expecting something more akin to MA3.
Yeah.
But it kind of is just like way more stripped back, I would say, and doesn't lean as heavy on 80s nostalgia. But his like concepts and lyrics are very real, very human, which I can appreciate. And just like concepts you can relate to, and just the whole theme of loss is a very nice way to kind of encapsulate everything on this album, especially considering his past with like everything he's been through.
Yeah.
And it is just, again, interesting song concepts about going back to times when you didn't have as much responsibility and you weren't as like famous, and just kind of yearning for the freedom. It's just a really like human like thing to do. Musically, it's cool, but I feel like there are moments that don't really work, especially within the production. Like there's a moment in Foreign Girls where it sounds like there's like a mosquito in your ear.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I also did not love that song.
Yeah.
Like I didn't add it to my playlist until like recently.
It's just like little things like that where songs could be great. They're just like something that's either holding them back or there's not enough. So I'd say overall, I give this like a solid B tier. I'm going to give this like a 7.3 out of 10. But Matt, as you know, that's not how the show works. We have 2 albums we got to talk about.
We got one more for the season.
Last album of the season, and in my opinion, a great one to end on.
I am very excited to talk about this one.
All right. Well, I guess without further ado, In the Court of the Crimson King was released October 10th, 1969 on Island and Atlantic Records. It is one of the most influential and well-known records of all time, and it popularized and defined the progressive rock genre.
I can definitely see that, and I can see all the, especially in like Genesis, I can see a lot of of its influence into like Selling England and
Lamb Lies Down.
Yeah, especially in Selling England. I heard a lot.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of Selling England in this album.
Yeah, this is more leaning on the jazz fusion side of prog, but like you can definitely hear elements of where it would go, because you have like the flutes and like the horn sections. You have the grand concepts of like the Crimson King, and even the song Epitaph just feels like a prog ballad. It's fucking insane that they did this in 1969 when like prog was still kind of like building up to the genre that it was going to become before Pink Floyd and Rush and ELO and
like,
ELP
like perfected it.
Yeah,
essentially.
It's incredible. I love this album so much.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
is there the usage of a mellotron?
Yes,
used?
throughout this entire album.
I knew it.
There you go, buddy.
I knew it because like there's the pitch of like some of like the flutes and stuff like that, which maybe some of them were real. I don't know.
I believe there was one dude, Ian McDonald, I believe, who played like all the wind instruments and the keys on this album. So he was definitely like playing shit. I don't know if some of the stuff could have been Mellotron. I wouldn't be surprised.
The strings, at least, I feel like were definitely like, and I only picked up on this because I remember I've seen a demonstration on YouTube of Paul McCartney demonstrating what like a mellotron does.
Oh, cool.
And for ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what a mellotron is, it's basically like a synthesizer that utilizes tape, and it's fucking awesome. And it's insane that they made something as incredible as a mellotron. Back
in like the 60s,
yeah, that they could even like do that. So I was like, wait a second, this I feel like, especially in the 60s, like this sounds like a full piece orchestra, but it sounds too perfect.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like everything on here sounds like a composition, and it's fucking beautiful.
And they do it so well.
Yeah, technicality on this is phenomenal, as to be expected by jazz musicians,
especially on like what's the one with the dream and the illusion?
Moonchild.
Like, oh my God. We'll get to that, but let's jump in.
Dive right in. We have the most iconic song off this album, 21st Century Schizoid Man.
What a fucking opener.
I know, like, dude.
Holy shit.
That riff is just so fucking good. With the horns, you have the drums that fill after like every stanza. It's so fucking nice.
It's so nice. Like, the horns are just so like they're so like
they're up front, aggressive, powerful.
You can really feel the mania.
Yeah, man.
And that's what I love it. But they also don't like overdo it.
No.
At the same time. I think that's what I really like about it. There's like a nice balance before like,
it rides the line perfectly, because even Greg Lake's vocals are like super scratchy and like distorted, but like it's still like pleasant to listen to.
The vocals overall, the vocalist reminded me of like 4 different artists.
Yeah.
One person that I feel like he reminded me a lot of is Jeff Lynne.
Okay. Oh yeah,
I hear a lot of Jeff Lynne in this guy's voice.
Yeah.
Which is pretty dope.
So, a fun fact about Greg Lake, the vocalist, he was only on this album for King Crimson, and then he formed one of the other biggest prog bands of all time, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, ELP, and so he got to start with Crimson King.
That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. I still have so much more to say about this one track.
Yeah, go for it, man.
I love the part where it starts to really pick up. Like,
when they're just full jazz like number, it's great. And like there's solos in there. You have like the guitars, the horns, the bumpana, bumpana. It's so fucking good. And then you also had the fucking syncopated buildup before it goes right back into the reprise. It's so fucking nice.
Dude, it's so nice. I love it like quite a lot. Like the guitar on most of this album is very, very good.
So that's Robert Fripp. I believe he's the most consistent member of this band. I don't think he ever left, but he's kind of like the face of King Crimson.
Okay.
And his guitar work is impeccable. Like everything he does on this album is like so clean and tight and just like fits the tone of every song so well.
Something about the way, like, here's the thing, like the instrumental like hook that happens over and over again.
Yeah.
It's so iconic. And I love the way that the song is structured with like the ABA or I think like ABCA kind of format. It's just something about it is just so nice.
It like scratches an itch.
It really does.
It's like perfectly structured.
It really is. And like it doesn't go on too long. And that's something I really commend this album for.
Yeah.
None of the tracks feel like the length that like they actually are.
Yeah, because I think with the exception of one, every song is over 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And every minute is fucking incredible.
It really is.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the Kanye West song Power?
No.
It samples this song.
Really?
Yeah. It's like the hook, I believe, after his verses or choruses, and it goes 21st Century Schizoid Man right after. It's really cool.
God, the guy's vocals are so good on this song.
Greg Lake.
Amazing. The drums. God.
They're fucking incredible.
They fucking rip so hard.
Yeah, Michael Giles is the drummer. He did fucking insane on this album. Like every beat he plays, the utilization of like the bell of the ride and his open hi-hats just adds so much flavor to his drumming. It's incredible.
From like just everything, like we're still on the first track.
Yeah.
No, but like seriously though, from like everything though, like the way that they utilize all the instruments and even just like the aria format of like making this, it's incredible.
The bass line is fucking great. It's so like groovy and like powerful. It's great.
Crimson King is one of the best villains in JoJo. Literally, he's like, in my opinion, the best one.
And now you know where he came from.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And let's keep going. I got more to say.
Next up, we have one of my personal favorites, I Talk to the Wind.
Oh my God.
I love this song.
Something about this track, it like sent me somewhere.
Yeah,
like,
it's heavenly.
How in the, like, I really appreciate the fact that now the woodwind players, were they actual woodwind players?
So it was only one guy, I believe. Ian McDonald played every woodwind instrument, I think. I could be wrong about that. Wow. I believe it was him playing like the flute on this track, I would hope. Because, you know, prog musicians love their woodwinds. You know, Peter Gabriel.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Notorious flautist Peter Gabriel.
Oh my gosh. Notorious Floute. I needed to have the E on the end. Notorious FOL. No, that's not right. Notorious FLUTE.
Yes.
Anyway, so I Talk to the
fucking rules. I love this song.
It's so good. Like the
guitars on this are like so light and like airy and beautiful. It's such like a I thought they were the keys for like most of the song. I was like, no, that's a guitar. Yeah. Like Robert Fripp was able to do that. It blows my mind.
It really does. There's a little bit of like, do you know who the lead singer of the Bee Gees is?
No.
Okay.
Mr. B.
Mr. G's. When B and G.
When a B and a G love each other very much. They make an iconic disco group.
Yes, they do. Yeah, I felt like the lead singer, I heard a little bit of that in the vocals too. Okay. A little bit of Paul McCartney.
Yeah, because you were telling me you're into the Bee Gees.
I've really gotten into them in the last few months. There will be an album in season 2. Trust me.
Sweet.
It's weird. Like this one also almost sounds like it could be like one of the forefathers of yacht rock in a weird way.
Okay.
Like something about it. Like I feel like
more like the vibe kind of.
I guess the vibe. Like I don't know.
It is like a very chill. It's a really cool juxtaposition compared to the opener because it's just such like a nice calm down from that aggression and just like fast paced instrumentation, and just to have this like really nice kind of like let you breathe like sweet song about like your faith and religion. Yeah. It's the pacing's great. I love it.
So many layers to unpack. It also reminds me of something like by the Turtles.
Okay.
I can hear it. Like it gives me a lot of I think I'll Run Away kind of vibes.
Interesting.
It was one of my favorite tracks. I think it's just the way that like the flutes were.
Gotcha.
But I love the idea. Just like the wind doesn't really talk back. It just kind of carries what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's wild.
The wind is like there to represent like a greater power. How it's like you can't see it, but you know it's there.
Yeah.
It's cool.
The flutes in both the channels is just impeccable.
I love it.
Like, I love the fact that like when the flute is in the one ear, you hear it echo into the other ear.
It's so good.
It's something about that. It's just, it makes it sound so much more atmospheric and so much
even
more like
intimate. Like, like you're there.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like I really cannot get over how like well this came off, especially for like the second track.
I know
the whole album is like 44 minutes.
Yeah, about like 44 minutes.
Like 44 minutes, and like it's only five tracks. Five tracks. Yeah. So, but it paced itself quite well.
Yeah, as we will see with this next track, Epitaph.
The fade in. Holy shit.
Such a good transition.
With the timpanis and shit. This is like on a different level, I feel, especially for 1969. Jesus Christ.
This is like a symphony, man.
It really is. Made with a Mellotron. Yeah. With Mellotron strings. That's insane. The synth, I guess, yeah, Mellotron's kind of a synth, I guess.
Yeah.
Sort of, kind of.
Keys, I don't know.
Keys. Well, whatever legato thing is happening, it's like so quiet in like certain parts, but you can still like hear it.
Yeah.
If like, I love it. Like, because usually it's like in the very beginning, it's kind of like just the guitar and like the drums and like the singer and stuff like that. But you still hear the strings, but they're just like super quiet. Yeah. And I just love that.
They slowly build over time. It's great.
It's like, it's so cinematic in its presentation.
Yeah. Like the feeling of this is so like, it's so like defeated, you know? It's got like, you get like the vibe of like walking through a war-torn battlefield or something after like a fresh battle, just looking around, seeing all the destruction. Because this album is kind of a criticism on the Vietnam War.
Yeah, I did kind of get like some sort of like war criticism aspect of this.
And the way they went about it is very prog rock.
For real.
Because it's very medieval sounding.
Yes.
Like this sounds like ancient times. It feels like this epic triumph, but at the same time, it's like bittersweet.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I feel the pain in this music.
Yeah. Especially in his vocals, man.
It's unreal. Such a wild way of painting this sort of story in a way. The orchestral elements are also just supplemented so well throughout the piece, where like even though like it's a prog rock album, there's going to be orchestral medieval elements like throughout.
Yeah.
I feel like they do it in a way that's like so purposeful and like so like it just really just gives it so much direction.
Yeah, like they're not just there for like the sake of having it. Like they're there for a reason.
I will compare it to OK Human only because by Weezer, only because I feel like they kind of also had like the same idea in terms of like making sure that it's not like the whole like, oh yeah, it's just orchestral. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they utilize it and they make it sort of like in this way that like gives it direction. Tone wise, not at all the same whatsoever. But I just couldn't help thinking about that.
Yeah,
like,
their utilization of orchestral elements.
for sure. And like using it, making sure it's like not underused, but also not making it so overused that it's like a gimmick almost.
I gotcha.
That's why I'm comparing it to that. Other than that, these albums are nothing alike.
Not in the slightest.
But we're not talking about OK Human. We're talking about
In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson.
Indeed we are. It's like 8 minutes, but it's so paced. It's paced like so well that they just kind of fly by.
I know.
It's also cathartic.
Yeah, you're experiencing a moment when you listen to the song. Like just like the pure emotion from Greg Lake in this song is beautiful.
Yeah,
like he sounds like he's suffering.
He really, really does. Like you feel the pain. It's so solid. I almost wish it didn't fade out.
I know.
Like, I could listen to that. I could just like close my eyes and listen to that for like a little bit longer.
Plus, just like the way he delivers the title lyric, "Confusion, you'll be my epitaph," is just it does something. Sends me.
It sends you to this 12-minute track.
Exactly.
Moonchild, including the dream and the illusion. Should we be?
I mean, you don't have to. Like,
right,
you can just
fair.
usually call them by like their single name, but like they have subsections. Like in Schizoid Man, the jazz breakdown is called Mirrors. But you can just do whatever you want. It's a free album.
It's a free album. It's also 10:24.
Exactly. We're sleepy boys right now.
Yes, we are. It's 12 minutes, but my God, it really just fills the 12 minutes with just these really interesting choices.
Yeah, it's definitely the most like avant-garde experimental track on this, and it's often considered the weakest, which I completely get.
I did enjoy it.
Yeah, it's still very good. I especially love the intro when the vocals are there. It's such like a dreamy vibe, which makes sense.
It was here when I realized that a mellotron was being used.
Gotcha.
And I was like, wait a second. Okay. How, like, I was trying to think about like how they could like possibly conceive a sound like this, like with the whole like dream sequence.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. How they could, I just hit my laptop, ladies and gentlemen. Like I was trying to put my
Just
hand
like I
down.
hit Matt.
I was so worried that last episode you were going to be like, dude, that's not cool. Don't say that again.
Nah. I don't abuse Matt.
It's true.
Unless he deserves it.
Anyway, so the Moonchild, I love the way that the woodwind instruments just kind of like are in your left ear.
Yeah.
With like the triangle and shit or whatever.
I think it's the bell of the ride symbol.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. I didn't even know that it had a fucking bell.
Yeah, that's the thing that I play during rehearsal. Ding, 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 ding. That's
see.
the bell of the ride.
I see.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Imagine AJ playing the drums.
Yes.
I don't have to. I've seen it so many times.
Fully nude.
Yes.
Which Matt has also seen many times.
That's the only listen, it's called artistic integrity.
Yeah.
Okay? That's all you need to know.
If I can't drum at my most vulnerable, I'm just not human.
How else is he supposed to hit the bass drum?
Exactly.
Okay.
Anyway, Moonchild.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, it was here where I figured out it was a mellotron. It's so wild the direction it goes in.
Yeah, because everything's like very structured at the beginning and very like soft and dreamy. There's some like really nice accented hits during the chorus on the lyrics, milk, white gown, everything just like comes together and plays this really nice musical moment. The woodwinds are great, but then like as it goes on, it slowly becomes more of an experimental kind of noodling session.
Yeah.
There's just kind of like just random sporadic hits of like guitars and like cymbal flourishes and like I think it's flute.
I
Or
think
no, it's
so.
vibraphone.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That vibraphone section, it sounded like what I feel like the Aurora Borealis would sound like. Like something about that, like I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like resonating. It felt just so like wavy because that's what sound is.
Yeah.
So like you know what I mean.
I'm looking at that right now.
The waveform. Shout out to my man Adobe
Audition.
Adobe Audition.
What up?
That'd be wild. Could you imagine if they sponsored us?
I don't know why they ever would.
That's really true. But like the drums are so muted and like gentle.
I
and
think
stuff.
he might have like pads on there.
I was thinking, yeah,
because they do sound like way less like echoey, but it fits the tone very well.
It really does. I'm honestly just in disbelief of the creativity and execution of like this dream sequence.
Yeah, it sounds like I wrote this down. It sounds like ASMR with instruments.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. Like it honestly also sounds like when like before like a recital or a concert, all the band members like
tuning up,
like you know, like give me a B flat, you know what I mean, like all that shit.
But then it like slowly develops where everything kind of like slowly becomes more cohesive before ending on like a very nice resolved tone and transitioning to the next song. It's just a very great moment.
It really is,
and a cool way for all the instrumentalists to show off their skills.
Yeah, like. For a song that shrinks down to like only a few different instruments, for this really interesting vibe, it does hold your attention. I will give it that. The weakest song, apparently, I don't even think this is the weakest track, to be honest with you.
What would you say?
I don't even know if like I didn't even think about like what I thought the weakest track was. They all just kind of, to me, were just a really fun time.
Yeah.
So,
this album is very solid.
So I don't even think I have like a weakest track. Maybe I'll come back with it.
Oh yeah.
Who knows?
Season 2.
I'll text you randomly. I found it, AJ. No. Anyway, that is Moonchild.
Yep.
And now we are at the last one.
This might be my favorite track. I fucking adore this song. It's the title track, The Chord of the Crimson King. Oh my god. The moment those drums fill in and you hear those heavenly backup vocals with just that soaring guitar. Oh, I just fucking love it.
Something about it is just, it does honestly send like a shiver down your spine. The vocals are so good on this track. Like, it is unreal. Like, what an amazing way to end this album.
I know. And truly deserving of the title track as well.
Yeah, for real. Because that was something we talked about too, right? How like sometimes the title track is not, it doesn't really live up to it.
It was on our Eminem episode.
But like it does. And honestly, like the whole vibe of the album like also fits like the
album cover. Yeah. One of the most iconic album covers of all time.
This album, I've seen the album cover several times because this album has constantly made it into my suggested. And I just like never got around to it because I think this was before I really could like appreciate prog rock.
I gotcha.
Before I even knew like of the genre, to be honest with you. But I mean, hey, I'm really glad that I finally got the chance to listen to it because like, holy shit.
I know.
Like,
it's an experience, man.
I will say there is one part that he says satisfying the hoax. And I started to be like,
quit satisfying the house.
Oh man, you read my mind.
Satisfying the house. King Crimson got to touch your toe.
Give me back my ice cone.
Got the Moonchild, a dream and illusion.
Think about this, it does not.
I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm not bashing this album whatsoever. Like genuinely, he said satisfying the hoax. I thought he said satisfying the hose, and I was about to be like, oh wait a second,
Danny Brown, where you at?
I gotta show it's still me who's on this podcast. No, but I love how the whole song does this whole thing with like the strings being like pushed forward by the guitar and the drums. Like, it's crazy how much versatility is on this track alone for 1969.
Because like the choruses and the verses, they sound so different. Because like the verses are much more like downbeat, primarily led by acoustic guitar and vocals.
Yeah.
But then the choruses are just like everything, with especially the backup vocals kind of like take charge. But you have the strings, you have the drums, the bass, just everything comes together, creating just this triumphant moment. And it happens like 4 times, and it's great every time.
It really is. Like, it's so atmospheric. You know what I really love about this? The lyrics.
Yes.
I love how he's just describing all these just like people in this world, just looking up at this like force that's approaching.
All ties back to the Crimson King. Oh, that's great.
It's so amazing. Like, I'm definitely gonna listen to this one again. Like, this whole album is so fucking awesome. like just what a way to fucking end this album.
I know, man. And like even it's like the lyrics and Greg Lake's delivery, it sounds almost like a nursery rhyme with the stanzas. It's so cool. And then it switches to like a Calliope solo. There's like a fake out ending, which is great. That held chord is just so fucking powerful before it like switches over to the next section. And then it reprises when the drums come back in for one last time. And it ends kind of darkly where it's like silence broken up by like this kind of distorted, the riff just like sounding distorted. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think it was really artfully done. Like in my opinion, there's really no like weak point. I mean, even though if you want to argue Moonchild is like a weaker track compared to the other ones, I still think it's like just a really fun like way to sort of make this album have a bit more variety.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like why not have a little bit of an experimental?
A little noodling.
Yeah, what the hell?
Everybody loves a good noodle.
It's true. It's true. It's not a SpongeBob episode. It's like, I'm a good noodle.
It's where they have to save the chicken that's going to like die without the light bulb.
Hey, what did I miss? It's fuck. What's his name? It's Roger.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I was about to say Albert. It's like, who the fuck is that?
My favorite SpongeBob character. Shout out to Albert.
All my homies love Albert. All right, AJ. I think it's time we get to the conclusion.
Yes, sir. Matt, what did you think of In the Court of the Crimson King?
I had no idea what to expect from this album whatsoever. I mean, it was really intriguing to me. Like I said, I've seen this cover art numerous times in my Spotify, and I was like, I'm gonna get to this one day. Just today's not that day. Well, 4 days ago was that day, and it was a really interesting day to say the least. I really enjoyed it. It appeared on my Spotify for years, and when you told me prior to this that this was a prog rock album, based on what little I've listened to of prog rock and it's a whole like in the whole genre or subgenre.
No, I think it's like its own genre.
All right.
Yeah, at this point.
That's great. That's fantastic. I was so intrigued when I heard that this is probably one of like the forefathers of prog rock, and I was like, "Ooh, I bet I'm really gonna like this." And holy shit, I really did.
Yeah, man.
Like the amount of range on this album, just all across the board, is crazy. It's so profound, poetic, well composed, and just like this was made in 1969. Like that's the part I still can't believe.
Yeah, dude.
They utilized that mellotron like so well where like, sure, I'm just a freak who understood what a mellotron was and could recognize it, but like nobody else would have fucking guessed if you like, unless you said something. They'd probably be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
What is a mellotron?
I thought you guys had the whole string section here.
You lied to me. Give me my money back. No, but the utilization of like the strings and the woodwinds and the composition are just so artful, and I love the story that it paints.
Yeah,
especially 'cause I kind of figured it was probably about like something to do with war.
Yeah,
like I definitely got that vibe, but like it paints this world that's like terrifying yet captivating at the same time, and like if this started prog rock, I definitely need to see like other things that were directly derived from this and explore the genre more.
King Crimson has some like other really good stuff, like Lark's Tongue and Aspig is their other really big one, and then Red and Discipline I like a lot as well.
I love like how I could point to other albums that definitely derived from this.
Yeah.
Like that were not
Selling England.
Yeah. Selling England was Selling England was like the first one. I said it like so I was like
Peter Gabriel.
I was like singing like I was like
Matt, your teeth gotta stop growing like that, man.
Yeah, let the record be shown that my teeth are going to grow to be like 4 inches long. I'm going to look like the Russian sleep experiment.
Oh my God. Yo, what a pull.
Dude, I've been on the internet for way too long.
I saw God. He has abandoned us. Don't worry, man. I was a creepypasta kid too.
I still am. But anyway, this album is honestly just on a different level in terms of creativity, content, instrumentation, and presentation.
Yeah, man.
So, A+ tier.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. And I got to give this like a 9.4 or 5.
Nice, man.
Like just this album is just incredible. I really just love the journey it took me on.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm glad you enjoyed, man. As I said, this is one of my favorite albums of all time, probably in the top 5. All I wrote down for here was I fucking love this album. I'm just going to go off the cuff here. The musicality presented on this album is insane. All the musicians completely carry their weight and add so much just like flavor and texture to this entire album, creating moods that range from like light and airy on I Talk to the Wind to grand and epic like Epitaph. And it's crazy they're able to switch these tones and do it so well. Greg Lake's vocals are full of so much emotion and range that he's able to carry with different moods. The closer in the Court of the Crimson King is one of like the best songs I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Just like the mood and the vibe, just it feels so triumphant and heavenly, even though it's talking about like dark politics and war. It's such a nice juxtaposition, and it's insane that they were able to achieve this in 1969.
For real.
Like, captivating is a perfect word for this album. Like, you just get lost in it, and I
really
love
do.
that about it. So this is an easy 10 out of 10 S tier for me. I fucking adore this album.
I completely understand why it would be. Like, this album is just like, I'm so impressed by like the execution of it. So
I'm glad you were, man.
thank you for showing me this album, AJ. This is another one that I genuinely just had such a joy
Hell yeah,
listening.
man.
So
That's what this fucking podcast is all about, dude. Finding music that we both like.
I will say this podcast has been so fun because I feel like I'm even before this, I always try to really expand my music taste because like I don't like to be stuck in one place for too long. That's just how I am. And like just it's cool that I get to like even listen to albums that I never would have even like thought to listen to otherwise.
Yeah, like do you think we'd ever hear like Scare on the Hose or like?
No, I mean I've never been a rap guy.
Yeah.
And like I've literally been listening to Scare in the Hose like every week.
Yeah, we had like 3 straight weeks of rap albums, which is awesome.
It was cool. Even gangster rap. Like I've been listening to more Mobb Deep.
Hell yeah, man.
Which is kind of dope. I have been listening to a bit of Marshall Mathers. I will never listen to Kamikaze ever again.
As you should. Venom.
Or Revival. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's rough.
Maybe we'll tackle that.
Honestly, that could be a future episode with Ben and Evan because that was one of their episodes. They did Revival.
Oy vey. But like really though, or even like Crybaby, or like I know how you feel about it, but it was very interesting. But like looking back, like I never would have even like looked at like Alex G.
Same here. Yeah, I can definitely feel that. Like Elizabeth's album especially, I never would have actively sought out or even heard of for that matter.
I'm on the alternative and indie side of things, and like just a little bit of classic rock, never really dipping into like the other like true staples and like rock genres and rock variants and stuff. Like I try my best to expand, but I feel like sometimes I fail to do so. And I will say it's been very, very fun.
Yeah, man.
In this first season, trying to like just listen to other music and like really actively listen to.
Yeah. Definitely, like, I 100% agree. Like, I thought, like, when starting this podcast, we had kind of a similar music taste, but, like, we actually have, like, a lot of differences, which makes it a lot more fun. Because, like, again, I would never listen to Bleachers or M83, and I'm really glad that I did, because those albums are really fucking good.
They're fun.
Yeah.
They're definitely fun. I definitely have a few more hidden gems if you ever want to, like...
Hey, man, we'll get there when we get there.
Yes, we will.
But ladies and gentlemen and family heads of all shapes and sizes.
Of all different frames, if you will.
I believe that just about does it for this week and this season of the Family Album. As always, I'm your host, AJ Tanari.
And I'm your other host, Matt Glass.
We'll see you sometime soon. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it.
Peace.